Hello and welcome back everyone to the next episode on SAP Analytics Cloud Training with me Anubhav. In our last episode, we talked about the basics of what is business intelligence. We discussed about the process of following BI in a typical company, how to follow the BI process. We also discussed about the concept of measures and dimensions. Then we saw the types of data type and we saw a very simple use case building a grocery store dashboard for product. In the process of building this, we have uploaded the data directly by dragging and dropping our data source on the analytics cloud. So once again, a quick recap of what we did. So we went to the analytics cloud system and then we went to our data source, which we had created, and we simply drag drop our data source onto the onto the system. And then when we drag drop, it creates automatically a data set in the system. So if you just go back here, for example, if I just drag and drop, you can see it prepares a data set now. So by dragging and dropping, we could upload all the data and all the data is then available inside analytics cloud to make slicing and dicing of data as well as build the dashboard or so-called story. So when you do this, the data got completely loaded. Even though you delete the Excel file from your computer, the data remains in SAP Analytics Cloud system. So this type of data model or this type of data is called embedded data, in which the data is loaded here and you can directly start creating a story here. But the question comes is, can you reuse this data? Is it possible that tomorrow you want to build 20 more stories on this data? Can you reuse? And the answer is no, we cannot reuse this data. It's not possible. So this data which you drag drop is prepared and loaded in SSE can only be used here in the story adjacent to it. So this brings me to the next very important question of what are all the different ways we can upload and manage data in Analytics Cloud, and the most important concept including most interview questions will ask you the types of model. So what are all the models and what is a model in general, and what are the different types of models when it comes to SAP Analytics Cloud? So let's first understand what is a model and why a model is useful. So a model is the foundation which is built to make story. It's a foundation to make stories. A model is built by loading or fetching the data. It represents all the data required by our story. A model abstracts the underlying systems and connections for stories. So basically, in simple layman way, if you see, we have a story which you can call it as a dashboard, and this story or dashboard connects to a model. The model will contain all the data. So all your data is stored inside the model. Now, this model can get its own data from different sources. You can say we can load data from a Excel file, we can load data from maybe a SAP system, we can load data from a non-SAP system. Could be anything. The eventually the data is loaded from anywhere and the data comes and sit inside the model. So today let's say I used Excel file And tomorrow, some of you are very, very particular about, Anubhav, will you teach in your training live data connection? Will you teach us how to read data from BW? So look at here. It does not matter because your story never, never ever directly goes to data. Never do that. Never. The data always comes first to the model. From the model data go to story. So today, if you do learn story building, today you learn story building with, let's say, data from Excel file. Yes. So I build a dashboard. Yes. I build a dashboard. So this dashboard is built using some data from a Excel file. Tomorrow, the same data come from a real SAP system. Do you need to change the story? What do you guys feel? Do you need to change everything in your story if the data come from SAP system instead of Excel file? Do you need to change the story? What do you think? No one? No one wants to contribute to the class. Everybody just want Anubhav to do everything. You don't need to. You don't need to change story. Why? Because look at this. This is an extra layer which decouples your story from data, from actual data. So today you get data from Excel. Tomorrow you can get from SAP, non-SAP. You can load data here. And from here the data goes to story. Yes. So it is completely decoupling. Completely decoupling. So this way, what we can do, we can have the data loaded on demand. And additionally, tomorrow, if you change the data, you just have to change here, this here. That's it. You don't have to worry about changing your entire story or dashboard. Yes. So model provides an abstraction layer. It decouples your story from the data, from the actual data. Okay. So can column be different? You can rename the columns in the model. If column names are different, you can rename them according to the compatibility of the story in the model. You will see that. So why we use model? So model is not just going to decouple, but it also have other advantages. The first advantage of the model is model provide data wrangling, and data cleansing, which includes transformation, conversion of data, split. Yes. So all these operations are done using data wrangling or data cleansing. Sometimes you don't have a clean data. You have blank data. You want to remove blank or replace blank or split data, combine data, join data. All that is done using model. Model provides blending. If you work with databases, we have concept of joins in database. So on a similar way, we have the blending. So we can blend the data by combining multiple models together. We can build hierarchies. We can provide the conditional formatting. We can add custom dimensions and measures which are not part of original data. We can provide currency conversion rules. We can provide validation rules in the model. We can also go ahead and use aggregations and exception aggregations in the model. We can change column names and data types, decide data types for our data set and formatting rules. Yes, how the data should be formatted. We can hide columns from stories. We can build hierarchies. We can also manage data level security. So these are the benefits of model in analytics cloud. Yes. So everything is controlled via the model. There is a question why there is two-way arrow from the model and story, because when you change the data in the story, data can be written back to the model also. We will do this scenario in the planning. When we go planning in analytics cloud, you will see that you can also change the data in story. Yes, there are multiple scenarios, so data can return back to the model. Yes, in case of data writing, we can also inside to action scenario where we can also write data back to SAP system also, and it flows through the model only. Okay. Why there are Okay, next question is what is the number of column in Excel data source and SAP data source for same story? Is it different? Depends on requirement. You can have more columns in the model, but of course not less than what you have in Excel. Okay. So obviously if you upload from Excel, you have 20 column in Excel, you'll get 20 column in model. On top, you can add extra columns in the model itself alone. Okay. We will learn all of that. Don't worry. We just started. We just started today. Okay. Now moving on, the types of model in analytics cloud. Interview question. Interview question. So first category comes is called embedded versus plan public model. Next is come analytic versus planning model. Next comes is acquire versus live model. And the last is classic versus new model. Okay. Now embedded versus public model. What is the difference? Embedded, as the name suggests, a embedded model can only be used by one story strictly, but a public model can be reused again and again. If I open our story here, we loaded the data using drag drop option with data set. Is it possible to reuse this data tomorrow by my colleague in another story? Can my colleague use this data which I created here in another story which my colleague create tomorrow? If my colleague create tomorrow another story, they cannot. Why? Because this is a embedded model. So the embedded model is created by drag drop option and allow the model data to strictly used only by one story. So this model is not reusable. However, a public model is created using modular section and stores our model in a SSE folder and can be reused again and again by other stories in the system. So if you remember, we also did created a public model. So if I go back to files, in the last class we created a folder, and in that folder, one second, yes, models folder, I created a big basket model. What type of model was that? Can you think? What type of model was this? Anyone? Yes, it's a public model. It's a public model. So let me mark the first category of last class. When we created the model, we created a public model for our big basket scenario. Okay, clear everyone? And if you use drag drop, then you create a embedded model. Next one, analytic versus planning model. What's the difference? So, an analytic model is used only typically in a BI story, but a planning model is used in the planning scenario. In the planning scenario, finance. Most of the models in SSC are analytic model until we switch on planning explicitly. Okay, these models will have account dimension as a combination measure. As a combination of all the measures together become the account dimension. I taught you this in the last class. That's what ABI model is all about. If you go back in the last episode when we created the model, we discussed about whether this model will be a planning model or analytic model. So if you go back to rebuild this model button and click OK, you will see actually an option there to choose whether it is a planning model or not a planning model. So you can see enable planning checkbox. We did not check this. So this model is a BI model because we did not check this checkbox. Make sense? Once you choose a model as analytic versus planning, later on you cannot change. You can see I cannot change. I don't have enable. I cannot change this checkbox. You see? Can't. If you hover the mouse, the tooltip says the same. It can only be set during initial model creation. Yes. So you cannot switch a model from embedded to public or analytic to planning. Not allowed. A planning model is used for planning scenarios and special account dimension with GL accounts, which we saw. We will create soon a planning model also, don't worry. Planning is also part of our training, so we'll learn that as well. So will save allow us to change planning from analytic? Never. Never. You cannot change vice versa also. Next comes is acquire versus live. This is my personal favorite category. A acquire model load and store all the data in SAC system. It acquires. Acquire means I am acquiring everything. It's on my own now. So like what we did till today is acquire model. All the data was fetched and stored in analytics cloud systems HANA database. It has behind the scene a HANA database in which they store all the data. Okay. Now this can invite extra cost for our company because we are using SAC data store. Then comes is the live model. The live model never stores the data inside SAC. Rather, the data is managed, stored inside source system like S4HANA, BW, etc. The data is fetched on the fly, on the fly at runtime, guys, at runtime when needed. This is called live data model. Sometimes we can have performance problems in live data model because the data is not managed by SSE, it's not within the system, it's fetched. So your stories will stop working if your connection is broken to the systems on which the live data model is built. So we need live data connection, and it should be online to make our stories work. If connection breaks, your stories will also break because they depend on live model. Next, and the last category. Okay, before I also explain this, in SAC trial version, we get only 200 megabyte of storage. So if you're using for this training trial account, only 200 megabyte of storage is allowed to you. If you exceed that storage, you will get an error in Analytics Cloud slowly, and your stories and everything will stop working. For productive account, more memory you add, more charge it will invite for your company. So you go to SAP and you say, I want more data to be stored in SAC. They will charge you more slowly. Yeah. So they will increase your subscription cost. Like think about mobile plan, mobile data plan. So if you want 10 GB, 20 GB, 40 GB, what speed, 1 Mbps, 3 Mbps, 100 Mbps, right? So more you want, more you get get the bill, right? Same way. Next comes is classic versus new model. This model was introduced way back in 2021, beginning of 2021. In a classic model is purely based on account dimension, where we combine measures to an account. We combine all the measure together in a account dimension. It's a classic model actually. Okay. And we will build stories, dashboards, and everything. But a new model is the model where we do not combine. We do not combine. Rather, we can use all the measures and dimensions like a typical database table. This was introduced to avoid confusion of account dimension for customers. Many customers ask SAP why account dimension? Why? What is the purpose? I just want to use my database table from BW. It has 10 columns. I should see 10 columns. Why you have this extra account dimension? What's confusing for customers? So SAP come up with the new model concept. Now, in addition to that, new model is much faster. It's more optimized and faster. Today, as of now, you can create both classic and new model. SAP recommend you to create new model, but you know what? When you create a model without specifying the model type, by default SAP create a classic model. Yes, by default SAP create a classic model. So they recommend something, but they themselves not follow that. And majority of the content they deliver, yes, they deliver classic model. Okay. Now these are the types of model. Slowly, when we go to the system, we will see all the types of model in the system. So the one which we created in last class for the big basket, it was a public model. What do you think? What was the model type? Analytic or planning? That day, last class which we created, what do you think? What was that? What was that? Planning or analytic? It was analytic. Yes, correct answer. Because I showed you the checkbox. The planning checkbox was unchecked. Yes, that is what we saw. Next, acquire versus live. What do you think? What was that? Acquire model or live model? The one which we created the other day. What was that? It was acquired. Why? Because all the data was fetched and loaded inside SAC. So it was an acquired model for our big basket scenario. Yeah, I'm just telling you here for big basket scenario what we did. Was it a classic or a new model? What do you think? When we load the data blindly from Excel, it was classic. Yes. By default, SAP created as a classic model because you saw it was having a account dimension. So you guys understand now how our last class we created the model and what it was categorized into these categories. Very important. Okay. Now let's also talk about stories and some best practices. I call them Funda Fox. It's a word I invented in my college days. When you read in the college in engineering, you have sometime subjects and topics. Some topics is spread across multiple chapters. It takes hundreds of pages to cover a topic. But when a question come in exam, do you write all the 100 pages? No, you will only write the most important parts of that topic, correct? So the most important part for that topic is what you write, and you use highlighter in the book to highlight the most important aspect of the topic to make it easy for you. Same way, I try to make it easy rather than dumping you with billions of lines of theory. I would want to summarize something in a easy manner which you can remember from also interview perspective as well as certification perspective. These are best practices. So let's write these best practices. So first best practice is the prerequisite to make sure that you design a good dashboard is to take right decision when you build your model. So a clean model leads to a clean story design. Remember, if your model is dirty, you will spend a lot of time to fix your story. Yes. So a clean model leads to a clean story design. Make sure you are well aware of functional scenario and data set before you start. So before we start, we need to make sure our data set and our scenario. So decisions which we make has to be clear. So the type of model should be decided properly because you can see that we cannot switch. Yes, we can switch between a new model and classic model. From classic to new is allowed, new to classic not allowed. But apart from that, any of the category you cannot switch. You cannot switch from acquire to live, cannot switch from acquire to live or live to acquire, or planning to analytic or analytic to planning. Cannot. Only one switch is allowed between classic to new, but new to classic is also not allowed. So make sure that you may decide properly before you really proceed to create your stories. What type of model you want. In case we have data anomaly, the story will give error, infinite loading. I have scenarios for you where I'll show this erroneous scenarios. If your story has errors, data anomalies, data errors, conversion errors, currency conversion rates not maintained properly, system will lead to infinite loading. So when you run the story, build the story, you will feel like analytics cloud has a bug, but that's not true. It's the data which is not clean data. You feed the wrong data, you get the wrong results. So in case of having data anomalies, the story will give a error to us. Yes. So we must use data wrangling feature of model, data wrangling to correct it. When in analytics cloud we create stories, we have three types of pages. SSE to create stories. The first type of page is called canvas page. The second type of page is called responsive. And the last one is called grid page. Canvas page is suitable for building dashboard for desktop only. If you want and know that your dashboard is only going to be used in desktop applications, in desktop devices, then you use Canvas page. When you want to create stories which can adapt automatically to devices like mobile, tablet, desktop, all devices, if you want to support, you can use the responsive grid page. But there are some controls which will not work in mobile phone. There's a limitation like geomap, clock. So some controls are there which will not work in mobile phone. When you trace the same story in mobile, though you can run it in mobile beautifully, it will auto adapt, but some controls will stop working in mobile phone. They don't have a solution at the moment, and some controls will not work in mobile. Then comes is grid. Grid is mainly used for planning scenarios, financials data. It's mainly used for financials data to show large numbers in hierarchy. So when it comes to hierarchies, use the grids. Grids are used for that purpose. So they are like tabular, Excel like data. So that's when we use the grids. Ideally, the data set connections. So now come back. All the data set connections must be done. Corrections must be done in the source data. So someone says, Anubhav, I uploaded an Excel file in Analytics Cloud and now I am fixing the data. So you got an Excel from your company and now you uploaded that in a model, and here is where you are planning to do all the fix. Yes, here is where you are planning to do all the fix of the data, all the fix you are trying to apply here. Is this a good idea to fix and do data wrangling and cleansing the data here in the model? No, no guys, it's not a good idea. Ideally, if you want to do fixes on the data, clean the data, you should do it here. This is the best case scenario. This is the best case scenario. Why? Why? Tomorrow this Excel will be used by many people in your company to build many model. If you always depend on model, if you depend on model to fix, you have to fix here, you have to fix here, you have to fix here. It will increase your work. It will increase your work. So what is the right practice? What is the best practice? Where should you do data corrections and data cleansing? Ideally, of course you can do in model, but ideally where should you do? Yes, in the source. क्योंकि सोर्स से ही सब जगह पे जा रहा है. अगर सोर्स आपका कंटेमिनेटेड है, it will contaminate everything. If your source is contaminated, it will contaminate everything. Do you guys understand? If you put bacteria in the water tank of your society, everybody in your society will get sick. So fixing individual home tap, boiling the water in individual homes will not help, because some people will boil, some people will not boil. So where should you fix? Where is the real problem? Is the water tank of your society. That's where somebody added a bacteria. That should be cleaned. Making sense? Hello. People don't understand this simple rule. They do wrong things in Analytics Cloud and then they blame Analytics Cloud is dirty because they don't understand this simple rule. It is the source which is contaminated. If you create models and every model you do adjustments, not a good idea. Not a good idea. Always address the problem where it is originated from. So if the problem comes in the data, it usually comes because of that. Okay, it should be done in there. Now, what should you do in SAC then? So in analytics cloud system, we should only do for minor updation. Yes, minor updation of data, minor corrections, minor data wrangling, minor transformation, display like display propositions, like certain time you want data in capital letter. Changing the data from small letter to capital letter doesn't make sense in the original data source. Those kind of things you can take care in SSC. Yeah, in SSC. So never ever try to fix everything, every data problems in SSC. It will cause repetitive and high effort for you. Yes. If you're using S4HANA system, do your data cleansing, data fixing in the CDS views. We will have this topic in our training. We learn CDS views also. Don't worry. So this is how exactly we create stories, and these are some of the best practices before we actually get into the system. Okay, now let's start the next very interesting topic. If my company is adopting analytics cloud, what should be my first approach? So it should be followed as per this rule book. So the rule book says the first thing is requirement collection. Today I see in industry, you asked me last time, how's the market for SSC? Market is good. Many companies, when they want to adopt SSC, they will first do a POC. POC stands for proof of concept. So many companies are right now doing POC. They are adopting, they are evaluating analytics cloud system. Some of them have started full-fledged adoption, but some of them are still evaluating. They're evaluating. So during this process, you get a work, and what you do, you right away start things, building things in the system. That's a bad idea. It's a very bad idea. It will have a lot of back and forth, you know, lot of back and forth things. So now the first thing is requirement collection. When it comes to building analytics cloud stories, dashboards, you have to think about building a requirement correctly. And this is can be done using a writing a specification document. So this training is uniquely designed for all of you to not just teach you SSC, but also to help you and teach you how should ideally someone write a specification document. So presenting to you a spec document for our next requirement, this will also be shared with you and can become a basis for you guys to actually go ahead and build stories in your company. So this is a software requirement specification document with a data set. I will share this with you in today's class, after today's class in study material. This will talk about the user persona, our end user perspective, and our perspective as an analytics cloud consultant. What is that we do in a company, and how do we build this dashboards and stories related to the business need and business requirement, and articulate the requirement correctly. So majority of the time there is a uh, there is a failure of adoption because people don't articulate requirement correctly. Until you not articulate, until you not understand what the need is, how can you develop something? You are just developing in the air, and that air has no value, no business value. Yes. So never do this mistake in the early days of adoption. Try to write a spec document, something like this. You can of course enrich this document with additional details according to the convenience and need of your company, but I will just show you a very rudimentary way of starting your requirement typically. Yes. Okay, so let's talk about user persona first. Anne Jackson, who is a 30-year-old IT and product expert with a strong interpersonal skill, and is a SAP Analytics Cloud evangelist at a bike manufacturing company called Mobility Company. She loves adventure and is a seasonal skiing player. On the weekend, she involves herself on social activities, helping poor children to learn. She has good work-life balance and appears to be management's favorite choice for bike and topics. Anne is known for clean design, analytic displays, and commitment to the data community. She is a regular blogger, publishes large number of code snippet analytics cloud community to help others growing their knowledge on SAC. She has total 10 plus years of rich experience on BW, Bob J, Crystal Report, Bex queries, and also recently joined machine learning program conducted by Anubhav Trainings. So that's our user persona. That's what supposed to be an analytics cloud consultant like us who is working in a multinational company, helping that company to get the right dashboard created for their consumption. So that's our user persona. So what are the job functions? You can see these job function can become a good pointer for your resume also. You can directly copy paste these things in your resume. So at the core of visualizing and analyzing the data in analytics cloud is through the thorough knowledge of integrated analytics feature. That's the first job function. Using the integrated analytics in SAP Analytics Cloud like BI features, demonstrating how to leverage each of these features to produce deeper and more insightful visualizations. Her main job is to collect requirement and prepare a SRS document like the one you see today. Also to plan for the data, collection of data from different data sources, dwell into statistics found in the dataset, summarize that, and form the foundation of data analysis. Next, create reference lines, bands, box plots, and confidence interval and use them. Finally, use advanced analytics feature like forecasting, clustering, and also unearthing the unseen relationship of data to predict the future events. Basically, I'm talking about predictive analytics with machine learning feature. Her deep experience working through the multiple organization and department help her to build dashboard for departments and for the board level, which is called digital boardroom. We are also going to learn that in our training. So now comes the actual requirement from the business standpoint. I always say to my student, if you don't understand your data set, forget about building stories. The very first start is to know your data set. You must have taken some online courses. You must have seen some videos on YouTube from trainers who teach analytics cloud. None of them, unfortunately, talks about explanation of data set. People right away drag drop, they start building story. That's all. They don't talk about the business need, the requirement. They don't talk about what is that we need. So this is the very first fundamental. You need to understand your data set. If you don't understand your data set, forget about building stories, forget about building dashboard or working in SSC. So Anne meets Steve, who's a global operation manager for mobility solution company. Recently, the Steve, who is he, asked CIO of the company for an analytic dashboard for overall company sales data so he can prepare for the future expansion plan as well as manage his goals of the team across. With this intention, company CIO brought N and Analytics Cloud into the workflow to gain much cleaner and much clearer perception of his entire operation. Steve will provide the data set. So you see here, this clearly tells who provide the data. Who will provide the data to you? Will you have to extract it or will somebody have to provide? So that should be mentioned in your spec where the data is going to come from. So Steve will provide the data set including products sold, types of products, units sold, and also the customer meetings held in each country and region by his sales team to Miss N. So N is going to get data from Steve. So below is the screenshot of the data which is provided. You can see here we have sales order data in a non-unnormalized form. I can go back and show you this. So this is the live data. I mean the data which we are going to use for our scenario. So we have order ID, we have date, we have sales agent name, the agent name, the customer name, customer segment, country, latitude and longitude, data of coordinates of the customer, customer status, product name, product type, number of units sold, number of customer meeting held, and order value which we have won. So can anyone tell me in this data set what is your measure? Last class, what is your measure? What is your measure? What is your measure? Question to all of you. What is your measure? Only order value? Is that the only measure? Unit sold? Only unit sold? Only unit sold is your measure? Are you sure? No. The last three columns are your measure. Yes, these are your measures. All three. All three. If I combine them together, what they become? If I combine all three measures together, if we group them, what they become? Account dimension. Very good answer. Very good. They become account dimension. So these are the three measures you have in your data set, which measures how good your agents are doing, how good your business is doing, how good your sales is doing. Yeah. Okay. We will use this data to create our model now. So we will be creating a BI model again today, and this BI model will be a embedded model, and it will be a classic embedded BI model which will acquire all the data. It's an acquired model. We will acquire all the data. Okay. So, and then this is the dashboard which we supposed to create. If you see this, when I not have analytics cloud system, or when I not even open the system, I design this mockup with a plain pen of pencil and paper. I buy a marker, I buy a white sheet, and I do this directly over here onto the onto the white paper and draw this. Yes, I draw this on a white paper. Yes, myself. And then I take a screen capture and put it here. So this is the way you can sit and brainstorm with your customers and ask your customers what do they really want. Yes. And depending on that, you create your dashboard. So let's create our model first. I'm going to go back, and then we'll go each requirement one by one. So first I'll switch over back to SSA system. I go back to the modeler, and I will start creating a model from a CSV file. I will give this data set to all of you. Yes, all of you are entitled to receive all this data set, guys. I will be sharing with all of you. So what I do is I go to my computer and I copy the path, and I just browse and I choose sales data, open. It has come, import, and now the model is getting created. So the thing system will ask me where to store this model. Yes, we come here, a order ID, date, agent, agent last name, customer name. Now, I was telling you about data wrangling. So you load the data. You see, planning is enabled because we're creating a fresh model. So I not do planning today. We'll do it later. We'll right now focus on BI feature of SSE. So BI is all about building simple plain dashboards and analytics. Okay. So this is our data set. If there are too many columns and you are not able to focus, then you can switch to cards view. Here you can see columns in a cards view, just the columns you can see. So we have sales agent last name and first name. I would like to combine these two columns, and this process is called data wrangling. Data wrangling is a process where we can play with the data to make data cleaner and consumable according to our need. So I can go back and I select first name and last name, two columns, and I choose this option called smart transformation, and then I say concatenate with a space. I do that. It has concatenated my sales agent to a another column where it use the last name and first name. The new column name which it has produced, I don't like it. I just keep it sales agent. Enter. That's it. This here. So this is how we can create a sales agent column. Now, if I want to undo the change, you can go back here, transformation log, and you can see this was the change you did. You can click on cancel. It will undo the change. It will bring your data back to its original state. Okay, original state. So this is a transformation log you can see. Now, next thing I can see order ID. You can see flower Can anyone say flower means what? What does the flower indicate? What does the flower indicate? Yes, it's a dimension. It's a dimension. Very good answer. It's a dimension. You see, date is indicated using calendar. Analytics Cloud detected the date. Yes. Next, Funda Fox. A date is automatically treated as a yes, as a hierarchy, because time always have a hierarchy. Yes, it has year, month, year, half year, quarter, month, days. Yes, up to days it will automatically take, not up to the hour. Up to hour level drill down is right now not available. Yes, but we have up to days. Yes, and of course weeks. Yes, we do have that hierarchy. Okay, now you see we go ahead, and now we see our measures. You can notice the scale icon. This indicates a measure. This indicates a measure. Yeah, this indicates a measure. So if you somebody ask me how do you change format of date, so just go and learn Excel format date, because you should clean your data in original data source. So you can use functions in Excel file, use different functions in Excel to correct your date. Yes, to correct your date in Excel. You see here the rules how to transform a date from any format in Microsoft Excel. Any format you want. Yes, you can. So in SSC, they don't have a feature to correct the date. They don't have. Okay. You cannot change here because the DD is missing in our data set. We don't have. How can we add 01 here automatically? We should not. It has detected. It supports these many date formats. SSC support these many date formats. Yeah. But we cannot change the format here. Not allowed. Okay. Now, when you click some data, yeah, typically I click this, you can see data distribution below. So we have 54 entries from US, 38 from China, 33 from UK, and so on. So it will give you a distribution of data right below to just to see you here how your data is spread across. How data is spread across. This is a very good feature to immediately observe your data quality of a particular column. The moment you click column, it will show you. So we have only three different customer segments: direct, retail, and wholesale. And this is the distribution of all the data across these categories. Okay. Now, these are our measures. Addition to that, we see the latitude and longitude. They are not measures, they are coordinates. They're coordinates. So in order to consume this data in Analytics Cloud, as a coordinate, you need to create geo column. A geo column, also known as ST point, stationary point. ST means stationary. It's a geo coordinate, geostationary data. So always when you have latitude, longitude, don't treat it as a measure. Just select them and click this button to say coordinates. They are my coordinates. Click on that and choose here location ID. They represent my country. So these coordinates are given in my dataset for this country. So I link country, and a latitude and longitude. You see it has picked up the column names correctly because column names it detected, and I say create. So this will create now a new column automatically in my dataset called location by combining this latitude and longitude together as a new column. You see, nice. Nice. You see, it's created that. So I can delete the latitude and longitude now. I don't need them. And I just have my new column location, which has been created. So you can always go and check transformation log. What are all we did? Yes, everything what we did is visible over here. Okay, fantastic. So now I have order ID, which is also flower. So you see order ID was a number, but still it was detected as a dimension correctly. If say, let's say something doesn't detect properly as a dimension or measure, you can always have opportunity to change the data type, okay, in the model. Then we have date, sales agent, we combine customer, segment, country, status, product type, number of meetings, units sold, order value, and location. Fantastic. This data looks good to me and I'm happy. So what I can do now is I can click on create model. Yes, there is a lot we will learn in model, but slowly. There are these buttons you see. We will learn all of them, but you need to wait for the right time. Okay, click on create model. I'm happy and I say create model, and system should ask me now where to store this model into the database. So I click on create. It opens the folder structure again. I go to Anubhav trainings, models, and today, since you know the types, I can create BI model. I can create planning model. These are the two categories I want to save, and I can go BI model and I can say sales data, and I'm saving this model in my SAP Analytics Cloud system. Question to all of you: is this acquired or live? Anyone? Is this acquire or live? Acquire or live? Acquired. Very good. So which means it requires storage space in SSE. If your storage space run out, you cannot create this model. Second question: is this BI or planning? Is this BI or planning? It's a BI model. Very good answer. Is this a is this a new model or classic model? What is the default type? New or classic? It's a classic model. Why? Because if you go back and check here the model structure, this first option in the drop down, you will see there will be an account dimension. There will be an account dimension. Since there is an account dimension, you will have it as a classic model. So if you can see, you can clearly see this model structure. You see account dimension. If this would have been a new model type, then this account dimension wouldn't have been there. Yes, you see account dimension, and you see all the three measures are combined inside the account dimension. Make sense? So once the model is created, you can still do some minor changes like enriching your account dimension with additional aggregation type. Yeah, formulas you can add. You can add extra measures also. So I can add another measure and I can just say something to it. Yes. So I can say here some measure I can add. Maybe in the future, I will show you some examples where we will add more measures. Once the model is created, extra measures we can create. Yes. Extra dimensions we can create according to our need. Okay. So I can zoom out. So this is a graphical representation of our model, which can help you to delete any dimension, delete any measure. Yes. On the right side, check its value ranges. Yes. And check the granularity. So right now our data granularity is month. You cannot change this for date data. Yes. You can just click, let's say, country, and you can here control the security settings for your data. Do you want data access control? If somebody can access this data or not? Yes. Hide hierarchies, who's responsible, data locking ownership. So all these are security settings on the data which you can control. Remember, I taught you model also controls the security of the data. Then we can create hierarchies. So right now I'm not creating hierarchy, but in our coming examples I will also show you creating hierarchies. You can create hierarchy at the time of creating the model, and after creating the model also you can create. Yes, that's possible. So if let's say I forgot something, if I did this model and I did some mistake, I forgotten something, can I go back and change this model again? Suppose I forgot to create hierarchy, so can I go back and create hierarchy now? Can I do something like redo everything? Yes. And that feature is called rebuild model. So you go back to model and first you save it, and then you will see this button called rebuild model which will become enabled, which you can use to, you see this button, which you can use to go back and make changes. So let's create a hierarchy also. So I go inside, it says that there is this data which was this model was created and it is acquired data. If you change something, it may affect your stories where you're using it. Okay, do you agree? You say I understand the risk and dependencies. they will be rebuilt, and there may be issues after I do something. So if you do changes to the model in a disruptive way, what is disruptive way? Suppose I delete this customer column while rebuilding, and some story is already using it. The moment I delete this, story will become orphan. It will not find the customer column, it will dump. Yes. So you need to be careful that when you rebuild something, it is being used already with many other stories, and any change here can disrupt many things for you in the system. Okay, so let's build a hierarchy. So I come back, I want to create a hierarchy between product type and product. Yes, so I can just select these two, and after selecting I click this button called hierarchy. So by default it's going to create a level based hierarchy. I click on that. You can see it has detected product type as a super node and products are a child node. So let me give a just an example. Suppose you go to market. So you have different segment like beauty products. Under the beauty products, you have lotion, you have cream, you have, let's say, uh, nail remover, nail polish remover. Yes. You have, let's say, sunscreen, sunscreen products, you have beauty cream products. Yes. Then you have another category called apparels. Under that, you have jeans, you have shoes, you have t-shirts, trousers, jackets. Yes. Different. So this is what your product category, and these are your products, correct? So this is a hierarchy. So you see here product type is racing bikes and mountain bikes. Remember Ann Jackson working for a mobility company. They're creating bicycles, bikes and bicycles. So the product type is racing and mountain. Under that they have products bike, these are different products they have under the category. Okay. So now I just give a name to this. So let's say product LBH. This is a naming convention. It's a good practice. Level based hierarchy, LBH. We're good. Click on OK. Okay. You want to also make sure you do a check that system should not have any kind of, uh, you know, duplicate values when you combine and build a hierarchy. Then you can check this checkbox. Click OK. Done. And in few seconds you will see, wow, look at this diagram now. Now this represents a hierarchy. And this dash represents that it has become a child property. This is a child property of your product. Yeah, you can also see that once you build the model. So click on rebuild. You see it's creating some error. I don't know why. Let's go back inside. Good that we saved our model. That's why first thing I do is I save, because sometime analytics cloud behave very weird. Yeah. Okay, it has corrupted the model. I don't know, something is wrong guys. It has corrupted our model. You see it has deleted the product property permanently. Let me refresh the page. So these are the bugs in SSE actually. You see, we found a bug. Just now we found a bug, guys, in SSE. It has corrupted my entire model. You see, where is product? Gone. We don't have. Can we undo the rebuild? Let's try to rebuild again. I don't think so. We can undo. We just corrupted my data. Just corrupted. Let's see. It's showing here product. I think the rebuild has failed now. So that's why. Okay, let's try to rebuild. You see, validation complete, no error found. But after when it is building, it is corrupting. You see, it's corrupting. Not in hierarchies is missing in the master data. Non-hierarchical member. Please add the member manually. Okay, there is a problem in creating hierarchy, guys. So we should avoid right now. For time being, I'll avoid creating hierarchy. I will dismantle the hierarchy which we created. So it's having some issue with the hierarchy. It's okay. We can dismantle for now. So I can go back transformation and oops, it's not showing me here. I can delete the hierarchy. Yes, now hierarchy is deleted. We're good. Let's click on rebuild. So these are small bugs in SSE. It won't tell you, but it will corrupt. You see now it's constantly giving this error. I don't know why, what's happened. And it's not telling me any way to correct it also. Okay, let me guys quickly go back and rebuild this model, recreate. So I'm just deleting it. I'm adding again model from my data file, select source, whatever we did just now, few minutes ago, we'll just redo that really quick. You see, it's constantly giving me this error. I don't know why. It's okay. I think the new model should work fine. So I go back, combine these two columns with the spot transformation and rename the column name to sales agent. This answer some of your questions that can I rename the column? Yes, you can. Then I will select latitude, longitude. We give geo enrichment on the data, selecting country. I will get rid of the latitude and longitude now. Then I'll just try to create hierarchy. Let's say customer and customer segment will create hierarchy, customer LBH, level based hierarchy. Click OK and we are happy. So we happy and we say create model. I'm not sure, something bad in our data maybe. I go back to the model, BI model, and I save the sales data. It did not give me validation error. Ideally, it should give me validation error, right? If there is a bad data, ideally system should tell me that upfront, not after creating model, right? That's a bug in SSA. Okay, so during rebuild process, creating hierarchy is not working. That's a bug. Okay, it's done. Model is ready. So this is our classic acquired model. Yes, it's a classic model, acquired data model. It's a BI model and a classic type. Okay, so now let's take a break here for 5 minutes. On the other side of the break, we will continue our scenario to build this dashboard as per the business requirement. So I will be back in 5 minutes. Okay, everyone, welcome back after the break. So let's start building our dashboard. So I switch over back and of course I'll come back and show you these features in coming classes. But now we have our basic model ready, which we can use to build our dashboard. I switch over back to story and I would like to create this dashboard to work in all devices. So I choose the responsive story. I click on responsive and it opens up another panel to choose classic design experience. A classic mode provide all existing feature and functionality you may have already used in SSC. An optimized design experience, which mode provide a improved experience when designing dashboard. This mode has some useful new features, but it does not include all the features that currently supported in classic, which means currently there is a experience, there is already a lot of features, but many features are missing in the new optimized experience. Optimized experience is little faster in terms of speed, but I personally used it and let me tell you my experience, it's very bad. It's a very new feature, yes, introduced in Q2 2022, but it is very unstable. When you build story using this feature, it is very unstable. So we will switch to and stick to this one, because once you know this, slowly one day maybe you can also do this very easily. So we choose the one, and next. And now here you can see this is a responsive page. It comes with something called panes. So usually how the structure is, you have something called a story, which is your dashboard. A one story can consist of many multiple pages. Each page can be of type either responsive, canvas, or grid. Okay. Now, inside each page, when you have a page, so you have a story, story have pages, and inside each page you can have multiple panes. Yes, 1 is to n, and each pane can have multiple widgets. Yes, multiple widgets, multiple controls. So let's see that. So you can come back. You see we have page. Let's call it as dashboard, sales dashboard. It has panes, two panes right now. Let me add one more pane above. Add lane above, lane or pane, whatever you call it as. And now you can start adding controls, widgets. So let me first remove the add a control above. So I click on add a chart, and immediately it asks me the model. So I choose our model, BI model, sales data. So let's go back to specification. The specifications say that I want first total order value, total unit, and total customers meeting. So we will add a chart and we choose it as a numeric point with a measure as number of total order value. So this order value is very big. I would like to format it to a small number and show like my number format, billion, trillion, something like that. We can choose the setting in the builder panel for the chart type and measures. But if you want to change the look and feel and format the data, you have to go to the styling panel. So this is called builder panel, this is called styling panel, and this is called designer pane. So designer pane, under that builder panel to change chart setting and measures, and then we have the styling pane. So now I can come down and I can choose here the type, scale. So let me choose it as a million. So you see 15.59 million. You can also change here to KBN, you see M. Yes, something like this you can change. So that's my order value. You can also hide this order value below. So you can go here to more options, and then we can choose here the show hide option to show and hide labels. So I say hide the secondary labels. Yes, looks good. Yeah, and now we can change here this total order value, more user friendly, and this becomes my first KPI to display. KPI means key performance indicator. It's a KPI chart. So similarly, we want total unit and total meetings. So let's copy, Control C, Control V, Control V, and now I just go back to builder panel, remove order value, and add here once again number of meeting. Remember we had three measure, we explored the data set already. So I choose meetings, and this one should not be in billions because meetings are not so many. Let's keep 1,000. So these many meetings were held. So I can say total meetings. Next, let's come back again, remove, and say quantity sold. So all three measures, units sold, go back. Come down to builder panel, styling panel, and put 1000. So these many total sold quantity. So these are my three KPIs. Let me get rid of this title which is added above, so I can go and delete this. So some of you might feel that I am going little fast here, but not. It's just that you are new to this interface. So until unless you not practice from your own hands, you will not get comfort level. So I would request to please practice by going home. After the class, watch my video of the class and then practice by following my video slowly. Can we show order value in crores? No. Indian format is not supported. Only million, billion, thousand. These formats are supported. Yes. Okay. Now coming back, we have the order count. We want to know the order count, total number of orders. So if you see, we do not have any. So I add one more chart. We do not have any measure which says total order count. We don't have. How many orders were there in the system? We don't have that. Okay. So we don't have that information of number of order count actually at the moment with us. So what we will be doing, we will be just going ahead and counting the orders now. Yes, into the system. So I click on create a new calculated measure. I click on that, and here we are going to create an aggregation. So let's create an aggregation. Aggregation is used to do sum, min, max, count, average. All these things is what called aggregation in BI. Yes, as you all are aware of basic mathematics. So here we can now go back and do a aggregation of counting dimension. So I would like to count how many unique orders are there. So you know that every order is represented by a unique order ID. So we can count here the order ID dimension to know how many total orders are there. Okay. So now I can choose count dimension, and we can choose here the order ID, this one, this here, and we can say count. Yes. So this is how we can count the total number of unique entries of order ID, because order ID, as you know, will be the key. So I'm just counting that. I click on OK. So this gives me the total order count. Let me remove the K from there if I want to. Yes, you can say there's these many. Let's keep it K. It's easy to remember. So here we can say order count. So this is a calculated measure on the fly in the story. You can do the same calculation in the model. Suppose you want every story of your model to have a order count. Rather than doing this calculation in the story, do it in the model to count the orders. Okay. We will see that also later on. How can we make it reusable? The next requirement is to show order count in Asia Pacific Japan alone. Yes, alone in APJ. So we can go back and copy this chart, paste another, and come down to add a filter, and just choose country. So I'm going to choose here countries from Asia Pacific Japan. So let's choose here India, China, Thailand, Singapore, Japan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, then you have Malaysia, Hong Kong. Yes. So some of the countries I've selected from Asia Pacific Japan region. Malaysia. Yes. I click on OK. Sri Lanka, you can add. So these are the order count in Asia Pacific Japan alone. And I can just go back and probably get rid of this time. So there are 150 orders in these countries. Yes. These are the number of orders we have in our countries. So now what we do is we are just going to go back and put also a image control over here. with our company logo. As you can see, our company logo is also kept on the top left corner. So I just go back and add a image. Yes, let's add an image, and we will be uploading this image in the system. So let's upload the image. Add image. I will be sharing these images also with you guys, so you can also try. So I'm going to use here the logo of this Anubhav Trainings, this one. Let's open, and I just add that. Wow, nice. So just put it same size like your KPI tiles and just move it here. And now we can just move the content little bit on the right side, something like this. Make sense? Pretty much makes sense. Yes, that is how we can do the combination. Yes, you can see here I've just done that. Yes, makes sense. So this is how I can create the content very easily in the system. Okay, so this is the upper part. Now it's a good practice to keep saving your work because this is running on the browser. If your browser crashes or internet goes away, you will lose all the work. So let's immediately save our story in the system. So I'm just going to go back and save my story. So Control S, save. And now we just save this story under the content stories folder, and we can store the sales dashboard and Jackson. Click on OK. Done. All right. So now it's ready to start adding content on the left lane and right lane step by step. So let's go back to specification. The first thing which business want is a order value chart. Yes, total order value per customer or per product. No problem. Let's select the right lane. Delete this extra title area which has been added, and now select the right lane and add a chart here, and we choose the measure as order value. Those who are joining our session for the first time, you missed the last class, you don't know what is measure, what is account, what is dimension. I would request you to kindly go back and watch the video of the last class. You missed this topic, no worry, you can just go through the last class video. We covered already what is measure and dimension in the last session. Okay, now I can just also choose here dimension as customer, and you can see customer was a hierarchy, so it shows me a hierarchy node. And I can go to level 2, which is customer segment. Nice. And I can further drill down to hierarchy, which is customer itself. So we will see now each customer what is the sales. Maybe I don't want to go customer, I want to go product wise sales, so I can go back and choose here product. So this is product wise total sales we have got. Nice, cool now. So that's my first chart. And you can see in this chart, we also have a filter on the left side for the date, so that I can filter the data on this chart. All right, let's select the left lane. And now we are going to add this input control. Input control is predominantly used in SSE to filter the data. So I can click on input control, and I choose dimension as date dimension. And I say filter by member and select all the members over here. So we have data for 19, 20, and 21 in this data set. So let's just expand that. Remember BI, uh, processing the historical data to drive out the patterns out of data to make future decision more smarter. Yes. All right. So this now shows all the data for all the years. And if I uncheck 2021, your chart will change, and you see all the KPIs also changed. If I uncheck 2020, you see everything in the entire dashboard is changing because of that. So maybe my business say I don't want to change everything. I just want the impact of this filter to change only this chart. No problem. Just go back here and choose linked analysis. And now you can choose only selected widgets. So I say only my chart order value per product should be changed based on this setting. So I can do that and apply. And now see, it will not affect other things, only affects the chart on the left. Make sense? So this is how we can do the binding closely to a particular control, measure input control, or the input control to a particular chart. Now, if you notice that our dashboard is kind of very static today, if I just want to see analytics, I only see analytics here for product. What is the total sales per product? Total sales per product, total sales per product, correct? So that's what only I can see. I don't see anything else, only see total sales per product. That's what I can only and only see at the moment. Yes. So what I want now is I would like to go ahead and make it little dynamic. I want to control my dimensions dynamically. I want to give flexibility to our user. Let the user decide what dimensions they want to see on the left. So no problem. Click on the chart, open the designer pane, and in this you can just come down to the builder panel and remove this product and add here a dimension and choose this option called dimension input control. Very powerful option. Yes, dimension input control. Click on that and I choose here the customer, the product, and the sales agent. Three things I choose and I click OK. So now you see a new dimension input control has been added with those three dimensions which we chosen, and I just drag it and drop it on the left. Yes. So now you see if I choose product, my dimension changed to product. Wow. If I choose sales agent, it's changed to sales agent. If I choose customer, it's changed to customer. You see, it's a hierarchy. Remember, we created a hierarchy, so it's changed to customer. You can see. So system auto adapts your dimension. So it makes your dashboard very flexible. Your user doesn't have to come to you again and again for you to change this dimension. Yeah, they don't have to come back to you to do everything again and again. You can give this flexibility to user and let them choose what they want to see. So this is here, select dimension. Yeah, okay. So that's our selection of dimension in the system. Now the next thing which we have here is selecting measure. So let's select measure. So I'm just going to come back and I will again do same thing for measure also. So we come down and instead of order value, I just want to say add my measure input control, just the way we did dimension input control. And I say order value, units sold, and count. Maybe three things. Okay. And you see it's added measure input control. And I can just drag drop it on the left side. Select measure. Yes. So now you see currently it's showing for each customer or each product how much is the order value. Maybe I want to know how much is the sold quantity. So I click on sold quantity and now you see 47,000 units were sold for this bike. Yes, nice. I want to go count how many total orders. So 249 orders have come for this particular product. Highest order have come for this product M550 bike, 369 orders were come. What was the order value which was sold? It was, you can see this bike was sold this order value. So now you can dynamically change the measure. Yeah, dynamically. Dynamically I can change dimension. No, count is basically number of orders. We calculated this dynamic measure if you remember, counting dimension. So we are counting dimension. Count is not number of meetings. I didn't use number of meetings in this. Okay. So this is how we can create our own our own selection, and this will give flexibility to our user. They don't have to come to you to change everything every day. Okay, the next thing I would like to now add a calculation. So you can see here, along with this chart, we have another bar coming for each dimension, which is showing what if I give discount. So the festival season is around the corner, and I would like to give discount to the customers. So if I like to give discount to the customer, what's the impact on my product order value if I give X amount of discount? So I can offer a discount between 1% to up to 50%. Yes. So what will be my expected order value in that case? Okay. Let's go ahead and see this in action. So I'm going to go back, and now I will just select and add measure. And this time I say create calculation. One more time. So last time we did calculation was aggregation, but this time I'll just choose a formula. So I say what will be my new order value. So after discount, how much is the order value? So I say order value into 100 minus how much discount. So let me create a new field here, new input control called discount, and this will be a static value, which is going to be a range because it's between 0 to 50%. So range between 0 to 50 with the increment of 1. Click OK. Yes. And I say OK. And I say this discount. I click and you see at the rate discount. This new variable, we just created a variable. You don't have to write any coding, guys. No need to learn a ABAP. No need to learn Java. Nothing. It's purely drag and drop. You just need to know where to click, what buttons to press. That's all. This is why even college freshers are learning Analytics Cloud. Yes, many college freshers, they are learning Analytics Cloud and getting good jobs in the market. Very easy to learn Analytics Cloud. No technical, deep technical skills or coding skills are required. Just logical ability. If you are logically sound, you can also build dashboards amazingly. So 100 minus this, divide by 100 because it's a percentage. So we do this calculation of discounted order value. That's a discounted order value we have. And now we click on OK. And now you can see, wow. So if I open and expand this, you can see a little small slider will come to us. Yes, here it is. So this is a small slider which will now allow you to change this value. So you see currently the discount is 0. If I increase the discount, you see the second bar in my chart will change. So let me offer a 50% discount right away. What is the impact on my sales? You see, it's almost half. For each product, it is half now. So if you give, let's say 25% discount, what will become? It's a quarter half. So you see, the moment you're changing the discount value, it's automatically adopting. Nice. Nice, guys. Cool, no? That's the beauty. That's the beauty. So now I can just take this and put it on the left over here. And anytime you can change, and you can see the impact of that change right away on your data. That is the beauty of our newly calculated calculation. Okay. Can chart show total sales value and total? That we are already showing in the KPI chart. So this is the total order value. Here you see. Here you see. We're already doing it above. We don't need to do it here. Yeah, we can do it here. Okay. Yes, as per selection we can. Yes. So that way I already showed you. If you want to do it as per selection, then you have to basically go back and check here the linked analysis and check all the controls as per the selection if you want to do. Yeah. Okay. Now, next one is the table. So let's add a table on the right. So I go back and add a table. It's a table. And we will add here sales data, order ID, then customer, order value, and customer meeting. So let's add the rows, order ID, customer, and I will add, let's say, country. And now I will also add my account dimension. It's a collection of all the measures. Choose number of meeting and order value. Click on OK. Yes, we are done. Yes. And now I'm just going to place this table next to my chart. So let's bring it in the below panel. Yes, it has come next to the chart. So tables are used to display typical transactional data. So you see it's showing customer hierarchy. So you can right click and say, I want to show level 3 directly. Don't show me any hierarchy. Or you can go to display option and you can say ID and description both I want to show. So you can select hierarchy also and say only the child lead nodes, which are customer names. So you see now it's showing the directly just the customer names. Okay. So next comes is the map. So if you remember, we did geo enrichment in our data set. So we can now use a map over here. So I'm just going to come add a geo map. So let me add a geo map. Come down. Yes. And in here, we are going to add a layer. Yes. And we will add a bubble layer. So in a map, you can add multiple layers. And all the layers which you can choose, we will learn all of this slowly. Everything I'll teach you. So right now we just go bubble layer and we say my location dimension. Very important. The geo coordinate column which we created that I choose. I choose the bubble color depending on the number of orders. So order value, higher the order value, darker the color, lighter the color will be, you see. So now we have different colors. So you can clearly make out over here that USA have the highest number of order because lighter the color. Then we have UK. Yeah. So lighter the color, higher the order value is. Then we have bubble size. I say depending on the order count. So unit sold. Higher the unit sold, yes, or higher the order count, bigger the bubble should be. So whichever country we got highest orders, that will be the bigger bubble. You see, you can clearly now see the size of the bubble has changed depending on the order count, how much order we had. So you can also come down and change the transparency here. You see this transparency, yes, and then you can change the shape of the bubbles also. You see, nice. So you can change the colors also, color palette. You can see. So whichever country have the higher orders, with that country is looking bigger size. Yes, the bigger bubble, bigger bubble or bigger dot. Yes, or bigger star, and that has a different color. So you can see the legend. Lighter the color towards the green, higher the order amount. Yes, and based on order count, the size is controlled. So this is how we can add a geo map pretty easily in the system. It requires geostationary coordinate data. Very, very important. Now the next comes is R visualization. So we can just come and click on add, and I choose here the R visualization, this one. And in this here, we will add the R visualization. So Analytics Cloud provides a R engine behind the scene to be executed. This R engine can be used to basically execute R logic. So R is heavily used in machine learning. It's a programming language. I am myself not an expert on R language, but yes, I can give you basic R scripting. So in future, if your company have an existing R logic which they are using, you can integrate that with Analytics Cloud. So I add this R widget and I say add input data. First, you have to choose what data you should use. So I will use customer, I'll use product, yes, and then country, yes. This is all I'll use as dimensions. As a measure, I will use all the measures. Feed to my R logic, click OK, and then I will choose here add script. Very important. So choose add script, and here we can write the R script. So I can go back, and this is given already in the spec document for you all. So you see, I've written everything, what to choose in data source, what to choose here, what dimension, what measure, everything I've written in spec. You can follow the spec and easily build. So here is the R logic. So we are first using a word cloud library. So let's come and write library. I can just copy this code and now understand. So first we use a word cloud library. So R is a collection of library. We import this library, and then I choose my model name. So my model name is sales data. Okay. This is my model name, sales data. Yes. So let's choose that. And now I choose here control space, customer. Then next is again sales data, unit sold. Yes. So we have words making using customer name. We have frequency. How big the size of the word will be, the customer name will be depending on how much unit we sold to that customer. And then these are variables. So word is a variable, frequency is a variable. We feed this variable to a built-in function in our language, and it will plot a word cloud for us. So watch out, execute this. It's executing this R logic inside the SAC engine, and in few seconds we should see a preview here for this output. So let it run. It might take few more extra seconds. That's okay. Yes, you see word cloud. You see, you might have seen this kind of word cloud people will create. So these customers have given higher sales, which are in a darker color. Click on apply, and now you see I've got my R logic executed and displayed over here as a word cloud. So in R language, we can create lots of variety of charts also, and lots of machine learning algorithms, plots, many things we can create. Yes. So now one more thing I would like to add is a linked analysis. So depending on the selection of the chart, I would like to filter my data in my map and vice versa in all the charts. So I can come here, I can say filter linked analysis. Based on the selection of my chart, I want to change all my other controls. So I say all widgets, and I say filter on data point selection. Same I do for map, linked analysis, all widgets, and filter on data point selection. Done. Let me save. Save is very important. So sometimes save button is not visible here because it's moved to the more options. Okay. Because of your zoom level of the browser. So you reduce the zoom level of the browser, you will see the save button here. Yes. But if the zoom level is higher, which is what I typically do to show you, yes, what happens is this save button will disappear. So you can just increase the zoom, and I say save now, and it's been saved. Yes. Okay. Now watch out. I go to view mode, and watch out. I click on this M550 bike. I click, watch out. Everywhere, entire dashboard changed. You see, map has changed. So this bike is sold in these countries. Yes. This is the data for only M550 bike, and everything above also changed. So we just sold these many orders, these many quantity for this bike was sold. I can choose any of them. So let me choose another one, this one, and now see these many countries it's been sold. So it's a dynamic change, and everything adapts automatically. Now I can also uncheck, and I am only interested what is sold in India. So I can come and click India in the map, and you see again everything adapts automatically for India. So all the orders for Indian customers is coming, and this is all the measures have all the KPIs, everything changed for India. You see all the charts, everything changed to India. Yes, fantastic. So this is how you can do a linked analysis in SAP Analytics Cloud very easily to change our data on the fly, to slice and dice and drill down inside the data very easily. Okay. All right. So this comes to the end of creation of a dashboard. Now let's give some formatting. So we go to edit once again, and I click here to my pane, and I just go to designer and go to styling, and I choose the background as a gradient, and I choose the gradient type. Maybe I can choose this one, dark one, and you see how it looks. Wow, superb now. I can choose these lanes, again gradient. Nice. But why I am changing it here, 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 and then I will also have to change for each chart one by one. Yes, I don't like it. I don't like to change everywhere. Yeah, I want to apply this styling one single place. I want to apply styling in one shot to the entire page. No problem. You can go back to settings, preferences, and here you see page setting. You can change it to gradient. For entire page it will change in one shot. You don't have to select individual lanes and do that. Now I go to charts because we are choosing a darker background. On a darker background, the white color or the light color look better. So let's choose the color. So we change the color for the table also to white, text color also white, header color also white. Everything I'm changing white. Click OK. Do not forget to select this all pages and lanes and tiles and apply. Voila, you can see everything changed to the white color. Okay, I forgot by mistake I've changed the background color for table. So we want to keep table as transparent. So let's go back to preferences, choose tables. By mistake we choose it here background. It should be transparent. Click OK, apply. Should be better. Yes, there you go. How beautiful your dashboard looks, guys. Look at that. In just 1 hour of time, we can create such an amazing dashboard and screens. Awesome. Thanks to all the specification given here. All right. Now, next, it's good that you understand whatever I taught you today. Yes, you can also check the output in mobile phone by clicking this button over here, device preview, and you will see a preview into the device mode. So I want to see this in a Android phone. How does it look like in an Android device? You see, this is how it look like. I told you maps will not work in phones. You see, maps in R logic is not working in phones. Yes, it will not come. Maps are not supported in Android devices and phones. iOS, in a iOS large phone, how it's going to look like? Please show me. So this is how it's going to look like in iOS. So in iOS, map is working, but data is not loading properly. So you can just go back to web. In a web version, in a browser, on a HD TV, how it's going to look like. This is how in a high definition television the output is going to look like. So you can compare everything. Everything you can compare. You can switch over back to designer. You can change the settings for your HD TV definition. And if you're happy, you can just close the preview and go back to the dashboard by clicking the same button. Okay. So that is how we can preview and test. So while it is good to see trainers showcasing things to us, it makes sense to also give a try hands on. So it's your time to make use of the knowledge which you gained in today's class and extend your dashboard further with the below 7 requirements. So I'm giving you this spec today in study material. Please try to complete what I taught you. In addition to that, this is an exercise for all of you. So I've given every single specification detail here. For another dashboard page you need to create, just create another page and just do all of this and send me the screenshot or keep the screenshot ready for the next class, and I will show you the solution of this exercise to all of you in the next class. You can see here everything. Yes, all of this you see below. You have to do all of this. Yes, This is all what you see below. You have to do all of that, guys. Okay. So this is a requirement for all of you. I'm giving as an exercise. Please go back and give it a try today in the system and come back to me if you get stuck somewhere. Yes. So that's an exercise for all of you. I'm going to share with you as part of spec. So we are done with today's class. Thank you so much for joining. Time for your questions if you have one. Any questions
So
on the
this is
line?
Narayan here.
Yes.
Hello. So this is Narayan here.
Go ahead.
So what should be the size of the dashboard? Should it be one screen full, or it can be bigger so that the user scrolls it up and down?
So we don't have to worry about it. SAP Analytics Cloud responsive page auto adapts the size. We don't have to worry about it.
Okay, sir. Can we fix this upper KPIs if I have multiple pages for the dashboard? Say like sales dashboard, then other is performance dashboard, performance page, another is trend page. So what I see is when I was practicing at, I have to build these KPIs on all the pages. Is there
Yes.
any way that I
You have
create
to
this
use designer.
KPI?
For custom scenario, use designer.
Okay. And
There you
how do
can
we
do.
publish and share the story with the end users?
Yes. So you see, Analytics Cloud
Okay.
is answering your question already. Yes. In the trial version, we cannot, but in productive version, you will get a button here to share your story and you will get a link. And that link you will give with your end users.
So difference between data set and a model.
We will cover that in coming classes, not today. Still, we need to cover a lot of topics to reach to that stage.
And what if we want to have year to date or year on your figures, or we want to compare actual with target data and all?
So that we will learn in the planning unit. So there I'll show you using an option for comparison and finding out the difference. Like what is the year on year growth on a stock market share price? What is month on month growth? So that is what we will call comparison panel. We'll cover this topic,
Hmm.
that topic in the planning unit.
Hi Anubhav, this is Ravi speaking. Anubhav,
Yeah.
I have a small question, Anubhav, yeah,
Yes.
because now we are building the dashboard into English, but my lots of users are speaking German, French, and Italian. Now we put this labels total order values, total
Uh,
customer meeting, Anubhav. So what you think, Anubhav, yes, how I can change this perspective such that this European user can go through the different language?
mhm. So usually there has to be setting. I've never thought about it, but let me just check. There should be some way to give the translation. I need to check about it. Give me
Okay,
a
okay, no
minute.
problem, no problem, no
I've
problem.
noted down your question. I'll come back to you.
Okay, thanks.
And also, sir, I have one more question. What about the date filter that I have seen? When it is a range, it shows from Jan to December. What if I want to make it from April to March according to fiscal year?
Yes. So in India we have a different fiscal year setting. Typically we have April to March in India,
Yes,
but
sir.
in other
Yes, sir.
countries we have a different. So we can go to model, and this setting is done in the model typically. So you can go inside, and in the model you have the preferences, and here we have the date setting to change the fiscal year. Yes. So here you can change the fiscal year, starting period of the fiscal year. So
Okay.
in India, we have April as a starting of fiscal year. You can change.
Starting. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So this can be done in data set also if it is a acquired model like from an
No,
Excel file and getting
you
it directly
answered
in
your
the
question
embedded studio.
yourself. The difference between data set and model. First difference between data set and model.
So this cannot be done in the data set, right?
No.
Okay, sir.
All right, guys. So that's the end of today's session. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.